When most people think about poverty, they think about not having enough money. And having not enough money is clearly a very, very important part of what poverty is. But at the same time, our understanding of poverty has changed a lot in the last 20 to 30 years even. With some pioneering work by Amartya Sen in the late 1980s and early 1990s, we now understand human development has expanding capabilities and opportunities. And poverty can express itself in many forms. The lack of access to healthcare, the lack of education, the lack of other basic services, the lack of political or economic inclusion. So we tend now to think of poverty as being very broadly defined, multidimensional in nature. The MDGs have been a very successful project in that they've galvanized the world around a common project to tackle these many faces of poverty. So we have income poverty as goal 1 of the MDGs, but we also have health and education, and access to water and sanitation, gender equality. And for the first time, we had a global unifying framework that rallied governments and other actors to actually make progress against the goals. So whether that was through changing policy or increasing the amount of resources that we channel to those issues, they've actually been very important in bringing the world around this common agenda. A lot of progress has been made. We've met the income poverty goal 5 years ahead of progress, largely due to growth in Asia and other key emerging markets. We've made great progress on gender equality in primary school, where now we almost have the same number of girls going to school as we do have boys. 9 in 10 children around the world now go to school, although that has still left 60 million children each year not going to primary school. So while there are success stories, there are still gaps, and there's been uneven progress across countries as well. (2015) is a critical year. We stand on the cusp of hopefully a new era of sustainable development. We've had the MDGs for the last 15 years. We've learned a lot about them and what they've been able to achieve. We've learned a lot about setting goals and targets. But now we also need to not only finish the business of eradicating poverty, the agenda that the MDGs captured, but also look at some of our more contemporary challenges, and in particular, the damage that we're doing to our natural environment, the impacts of climate change, and also the impacts that have happened in the crises and shocks that we've seen in the last decade, particularly the economic and financial crisis, the food and oil price shocks that we've seen, and also the natural disasters. So we're moving towards an agenda that will be agreed by governments that is quite complex in nature and yet critical for moving us onto a trajectory where we can safely live as people on this planet.